Hello and welcome. The goal of this podcast is to get listeners connected with others in the sports industry because they say it's all about who you know, and now you know us. All right, here we go. We're back. This is our 47th guest to join the Constant Sports podcast today, and we're excited to talk with Trevor Brendlin. He's a mover and shaker in the sports business space, got a lot of experience, talent representation, sports management, started early in sports management space, kind of at Boise State. We'll lock into kind of his graduate degree, things along those lines. So thanks for joining us today, Trevor.
Yeah, thanks, Connor. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to join and discuss the sports world.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll start out a little bit, I guess a little bit rewind, but what sparked your passion, your interest for sports management at Boise State, or I guess before Boise State?
Sure. I guess I knew I wanted to be in the sports area to work in my profession. I guess at Boise first, I actually went under kinesiology degree because I thought maybe the path to work in sports was to be an athletic trainer. That would be my opportunity to be closest with the athletes. But I quickly realized science wasn't for me. So I switched gears to entrepreneurship and business related matters. I always had a passion for starting a business in the small business world. So I felt like that side could really play into a different area of sports that I wasn't really recognized with yet. And that's when I started working for the Boise State football team right away. When I started at Boise, I started in the equipment room and worked my way up through operations and a whole other different gears throughout the whole program. And that really showed me a different side of the sports world that I didn't need to be an athletic trainer. I could kind of work my way throughout maybe like the front office and have kind of a business background. And that really showed me that I could take a different career path in sports. And that's where it all started and began for me.
Yeah, awesome to hear it. Sounds like, early in the career, kind of you moved and shaked a little bit throughout the industry, and then you obviously found the interest in getting a secondary degree at Arizona State there, kind of the sports law and business
Yeah.
program. So was that, I'm assuming, we won't go too far into your background, but with your law degree and whatnot, but is that kind of, how'd that come about from Boise
Sure.
State to then, okay, I'm going to get a secondary degree?
Yeah, I guess I was always told that, when you start college, you're going to change your major. And I always blew them off. I always thought I was going to stick with what I had planned. But no, I changed first semester that I wanted to do something different. And then what really sparked my interest with ASU's sports law and business program is I knew I wasn't sure about law school. I really enjoyed my law classes at Boise State for my undergraduate degree. And I knew that that if I wanted to make a imprint in the sports world, that would really help project my career. And since I enjoyed the classes, I started taking the LSAT before I graduated at Boise. I never really did that well to get into one of the better schools. So I felt like I could get a master's degree and still try to figure out if law school was for me. And I always had ASU at the top of my list because of their connections in the sports world. I always actually dreamed of going to ASU at some point in my life.
Right.
And since I didn't go for undergrad, I wanted to go for my master's. And so since it was a dual program with the law school and the business school, I felt like this was a good opportunity to show me if law school was for me, but give me, if not, the well needed topics that I needed to use and skills that I could have in the sports world. And so I went there and it was a great opportunity, made a ton of connections. And it did show me that I wanted to continue through my educational career. And so I'm still in law school, but it was a perfect time for me during COVID to figure out what was next. And it was the great transition period and pivot.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I guess that's what it's all about, right? Pivoting and finding out kind of your space and your zone. And so then I guess one thing leads to another. You're kind of gaining this experience kind of on the education side, you could say, but talk to the listeners and viewers about maybe your internships, especially with exclusive sports groups, or you could talk with Boise State, but what do those provide kind of you're early in your career to kind of where you're at now?
Yeah, I always was involved in sports, playing throughout high school and stuff. But my first job in sports was with Boise State, working for the football team and just learning how a professional or collegiate program is really ran at a high level. And I feel like they do really good things there. It's a really blue collar town, a blue collar school. So kind of getting in the nit and gritty of how they are run was a great opportunity that showed me um, how sports are run. And so made a lot of great connections there. And then from that, I leaned into going into the sports representation side. I knew maybe the agent side was for me because it blended my favorite topics of business, negotiations, and law all together. So I felt like my skill set kind of worked best in that career path. And so I got an internship at Exclusive Sports Group. It's an NFL agency in Indianapolis after Boise State. It's a great boutique sports agency that reps football players. They also rep a lot of college basketball coaches as well. Matt Painter, actually from Purdue, who been doing a great job. So they had a lot of high profile athletes that I really got to learn and got to work with. And being in Indianapolis was a great time because the training camp and all the um, pre-draft facility stuff really runs through Indianapolis. So it was a great time to kind of be there and connected with a lot of high profile people in the football industry. And then I really worked on my skills on recruiting college athletes and trying to get them to sign with us. I got to learn the ins and outs of pitch decks and different platforms to present to NFL teams and trying to do contract negotiations and stuff like that. So that was in the middle of the summer between my undergrad and then going into my master's at ASU. So I used that as a good platform for my resume. And once I got to ASU, it projected into representation on the broadcasting and media side with Wasserman. So that was a great opportunity to go into a larger agency and learn how they are run. So that was kind of the transition there into the representation side.
Yeah, it's kind of the both worlds, from the boutique to the extremely, not boutique, extremely large and expansive
Sure.
agency that is Wasserman, kind of like a CAA type of vibe with, thousands of clients, I would assume, with all their different antennas and whatnot that they have. But regarding kind of the pitch decks and maybe some of the college recruiting for the listeners and viewers who maybe are just getting or maybe want to be in the sports agency kind of route, what goes into maybe recruiting and these pitch deck types of work?
Yeah, it's a lot of creative aspects to it. I feel like if you have a good creative work ethic and creative platform that you could use to kind of be different. That is the really big key, is just to be different in your pitches. Everyone's going to come in and say that they could offer you X, Y, and Z, but if you could show them something different that they didn't see in a different pitch, then that's going to really hit them home in a different way. And you want to just get as personal and connected to them as possible. So in our recruiting stuff, we try to run through all their interests, all their off the field or non-playing interests, what they like outside of sports in the classroom if they're in college. So we try to just get to know them on a personal level and tailor it to what their goals and achievements want to be. So it's really tailored differently for every single athlete, and I think it goes a long way when you show that you put in the effort and you know them more than they even expected you to. So that really is a fun area to do a lot of research and get to know them on a different side. So getting all that stuff and putting it together for them in a creative way is goes a long way. So that's what I enjoy doing.
Yeah, it seems it's kind of like going the extra mile a little bit, doing a lot of behind the scenes homework, research, interviews, listen to interviews or past things that they've mentioned and things like that. And then
Exactly.
so with the representation side for athletes specifically, but now you kind of made your way into the personality, I guess, sector you could say with broadcasting, coaches, things along those lines. So what's I guess maybe some differences or similarities between representation, athletes wise, and then kind of I guess post athlete career, maybe coaches or broadcasting talent, media talent, things like that.
Yeah, where I'm at now is Inside Sports Advisors. It's another boutique agency after Wasserman, and we rep a lot of post career athletes in the media side and TV. We represent a lot of influencers and personalities, like you mentioned. And it's kind of funny that I fell into this side because also at Boise, I hosted a radio show with one of my coworkers for the football team. We did a lot of interviews with football players. We just talked sports. It was pretty much the gist of the show. And so I always, love watching Colin Cowherd and some of these
Yeah.
high profile sports talk radio show hosts. And so I always knew I had an interest in it. I never felt like I was that great at it, but just having that interest in it, and it kind of fell into me when I went to Wasserman while I was at ASU. I got to learn the ins and outs of the media side, and it's very similar. It's different in the aspect that there's no real guidelines like in NFL or NBA. There's a lot
Mhm.
of guidelines you got to follow for player agreements and stuff. In this side of sports, it's all up to you to really craft negotiations and deals and a lot of the precedents that come beforehand. So what we do is a lot of deals with the big networks like ESPN and Fox, and then for the influencers and social media talent, we'll do a lot of endorsement deals and reaching out to companies and doing side stuff as well. So it's really also being creative in a different contract legal way,
Mhm.
which I find really interesting and fascinating. And so in this side of the field of sports, just being different again is huge. Everybody wants to be a sideline reporter. Everybody wants to be in the booth. But if you could find a way to differentiate yourself on social media, one of our top clients is Annie Agar. She really found a way to be
Yep.
different on Zoom and create fun, engaging videos. And so her path was very different than anyone else, and it's led to great things for her. So that's kind of what we target, being different and showing that you're very knowledgeable in different ways. But again, a lot of the post-career athletes are very knowledgeable, and having a good practice while they're playing actually is really helpful. So as many reps as possible, hopping on podcasts like this really helps, and just being ready to learn as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And it kind of uh, made me think about post-career kind of broadcasters like Tom Brady's about to enter the booth. You got
Yeah.
Tony Romo in there, Greg Olson. So what are your thoughts on like this? Not that not super successful athletes can become broadcasters, but like the mega superstars, like the Tom Brady getting in the booth. Greg Olson's one of the best tight ends ever. What are your thoughts on like mega stars kind of after their career becoming broadcasters? You think it's a seamless transition for them, or what are your thoughts?
It's a different transition, but I think we're going to see a lot more of it. I think these high profile athletes, they need something to do post career. They're not going to find, either maybe it's business wise or something else in their career that can help them achieve that high cognitive level. And I think broadcasting is a great way to do that because they know the game. Tom Brady is obviously the smartest probably quarterback ever, and he's going to be super fantastic, I believe, on the booth. He's I think he did the right thing. He took a year off, practiced a little bit, had a lot of behind the scenes reps, and now he's going to jump in there and just have fun with it. I think he's just got to be himself, and he knows the game, so that's just what he's got to do. But I think we're going to see a lot more high profile athletes get into the broadcasting side, whether it be during games or studio shows, pre-game, post-game stuff. I think what the NBA side is shown is that it's a really good path. Like your Charles
Mhm.
Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal's, they've really shown that it's a different profile that you can create for yourself post career and stay relevant. I mean, I didn't really grow up watching Charles Barkley or some of the
Mhm.
older athletes, but now I know them a lot because I'm watching them in the booth. So staying present with the younger crowd and enjoying the next generation of the sport is, I think, what they're really wanting to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's a great kind of lead in, talking about the next generation of sports, and regarding kind of younger collegiate athletes and NIL. So kind of in your spot with the rise of NIL, how do you see it, evolving in the sports marketing world with, some of the different brands, or I guess just even athletes in general, or agencies?
Yeah, that's another area that's booming also. It's going to continue to grow. No one really knows what the whole employment situation is going to look like in the next years or so with the House settlement.
Mhm.
So I think it's all just kind of transition to see what unfolds. But if you're looking to get into sports representation, NIL is the place to do it because you don't really need too many regulations and
Mhm.
certifications to jump in. So if you have good relationships with athletes, if you know a lot of brands, you could really practice your skills there and work with some of the bigger agencies also. So it's a big new career path that a lot of people can take, but it's great for the athletes that they can finally make profit off their NIL. And it seems like it's been a long time coming for this, so it's great to see. We've Insight. We've done a lot of work with USC athletes, so we've had some NIL clients in the past, and our take on it is to help a lot of the athletes who aren't going to go professional, but might try to use their leverage into media careers. So a lot of we've had a football player who hosted a podcast. We've had a lot of athletes who want to get into the social media aspect and endorsement stuff. So we help them creating their brand and trying to get them connected with a lot of different brands that will help them target their following. And it's been a good learning curve and a good opportunity to help them grow their careers for those athletes that aren't going to make it to the high stages of professional leagues.
Yeah, well, and I think there's I mean, especially nowadays with the digital age, you have YouTube and like podcast things. There's so many different avenues that athletes that maybe aren't going to go pro. That old adage, like X amount of
Mhm.
athletes, are going to go don't go pro, yada yada yada, whatever the number is. But especially on the media side, what kind of strategies do you and your team find most effective for athletes or for individuals to kind of build themselves in the media in the digital age?
Yeah, again, we tell our clients to be different and to do things that they really find engaging, something that they wish they had when
Mhm.
they were younger, that they wanted to follow or listen to, and something that no one else is really doing. And then just being active, posting something every day is huge. Creating a following that people can get behind, and being active on all the accounts, Twitter, Insta, TikTok, all of them are helpful. And we tell them to be active, create kind of your brand, and we help them kind of package all that together, amplify that, and we shoot those off to a whole bunch of different companies to just get eyeballs on them and
Mhm.
grow their followers. And whatever sport it may be, try to get them into different events, networking opportunities. And they're so young; they have a long career to go, but just trying to progress them as fast as possible is the goal.
Mhm. Well, and then I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on like signing an athlete, or not an athlete, a media kind of uh, personality like Annie. Was that kind of early on in her career? Was it in the middle? Obviously, say however much you can say, but I'm just curious on, because now she's just blown up, makes hilarious videos, and if you don't know who she is, then I don't know, you might live under a rock, I guess. I'm not sure, but she has hilarious videos, especially the NFL skits. So what does it go like, the process like signing a client like her?
Yeah, it's jumping in early. Thankfully, we had a client that sent us Annie's videos early on, and
Oh wow.
we reached out and was like, "Do you have an agent?" And she said no, and she hopped on with us at Wasserman at the time, and we've grown together ever since. So It's jumping in early for sure, and trying to find them when they don't have that follower base, but something that is different and valuable and funny, engaging. It was the right timing. A lot of this is timing wise. We That was during COVID when everyone was kind of down. She was posting funny videos, trying to make people laugh. She loved the comedic side of talk shows. So
Mhm.
trying to jump into something that we didn't have at the time. So that also is huge. So jumping in early, trying to find them before they really blow up, because that's when we could help them navigate. That's the hardest part for most of these creators is when they do blow up, they're probably not sure how to leverage that into making it last. And usually they'll kind of just um, fall kind of quickly if they're not able to hold on to what is different about them and what is valuable. We want to help them price them correctly for different endorsements and protect their IP and valuable assets for them. So being able to help them in that blow up stage is critical. So yeah, we try to find creators and maybe their athletes at a young age to help them grow into what they can be.
Mhm. Yeah, no, beautiful, wonderful process and breakdown there. And is that I'm assuming that's kind of most of your day to day, if not as the director of marketing, is that uh, what percentage of that kind of breaks down to your day-to-day activities? Are you contacting brands a lot of cold emails? Kind of what does that look like?
Sure. I guess it'd be 40% trying to um, talent search, try to look online and find different talent. 40% taking phone calls from creators or athletes that reach out to us. We get a lot of emails every day, trying to get representation. So that would be 40% probably. 40 The other 40% is reaching out to companies, doing endorsement deals,
Mhm.
contracts, doing a lot of networking stuff. We have a pretty good foundation with a lot of different companies, but if it's a company that our client wants to work with that we haven't touched base with before, we'll do some research and try to find somebody who knows them, and get connected that way. And then the other 20% is working with our clients on broadcast reels, which is
Mhm.
a big thing for our clients. Instead of resumes, we send broadcasting reels, which is basically the highlight reels of their broadcasting work. So about 5 minutes of their best footage on in studio, on the field, whatever job they may be. Maybe, for instance, it's on their social media, but we package that together and send those to different companies, endorsements, and the big media brands also to try to get full-time employment. And then also we rep a lot of college basketball coaches and NBA coaches, and so helping them again with pitch decks, resumes, and reaching out to different clubs as well.
Yeah, so is I guess as far as the coaching carousel goes, is that a lot of like proactive work? Like you see, I don't know, I know the Miami Heat didn't fire their head coach, but let's just say like the Miami Heat fired assistant coach or something coach, and then when your coaches, already has a job, but is that like you guys have, you're keeping track of this coach is there, and then you go, I mean, what does that look like? Are you guys just basically keeping tabs every day on all the coaching positions?
Yeah, the big time is during March when we have a lot of college basketball coaches, and March
Oh
Madness
yeah.
obviously is the big time. So going into April and March and May is the big college basketball hiring season. So we have a lot of different resources to make tabs of who's being let go, who's on the hot seat, who do we think this coach might be a good fit at this school. So we try to create a list, and check that every day, seeing what's in the news on social media, what people are saying, and making sure beforehand that our clients have updated decks, updated information of all the statistics that they've done in the past few years. That way we could send that over to athletic directors and schools, and in the NBA space as well. Kind of now is the hiring season for NBA going into the summer. And it's also, like you said, keeping track of who's being let go. Maybe they have a connection with a former player or friend that works at another NBA team, and we want to get negotiations that way. So they're different. They're different hiring seasons. College basketball is in the spring, NBA is about the summer, and then the football for stuff is always in the fall. So there's different seasons that we change gears a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And it's especially in the in the win now mode, I feel like a lot of teams are always in is, coaches are on the hot seat for, they could come somewhere for a year and have a bad year and get fired. And that's just kind of the way it goes. But is there, I guess, certain I mean, you mentioned ADs, but is that kind of the best way to get in if a coach is trying to find a new spot? I'm assuming is the AD, or is there I guess resources that the ADs use?
Yeah, the '80s, a lot of them use search firms, so it's being
Mm.
connected with big search firms as well, and finding out with the ADs who they're using. So a lot of times, if we got a lot of connections with a good amount of athletic directors. So if they tell us that they're using so and so search firm, we'll get in touch with them and work through that trajectory. So those are probably the two biggest ways, but trying to get to the top is as best as possible is key. Just having that one phone call away kind of relationship is the goal. So trying to get as again, networking is huge. It's everything in this
Mhm.
business. So it's trying to just get to know as many people as possible.
Yeah, no doubt. And that kind of the coaching carousel and coaching hiring and negotiation of contracts kind of just reminded me of like Lincoln Riley, for example, when he signed at
Yeah.
USC, it was like you get a private jet 2 times, however many times you get this, you get that. So is that obviously is don't want to put you in a corner here, but what is that for NBA coaches, professional coaches? Is that kind of similar to kind of the Lincoln Riley method, is where I want obviously the money here, but then these perks. My kid goes to private school, whatever it is. Is that kind of common in the space?
In I would say it's more common in the collegiate space
Interesting.
than the professional. Honestly,
Hmm.
a lot of these universities they have a lot of boosters that want to help out and want to win, so they're going to throw as much money as possible at
Yeah.
landing a Lincoln Riley and giving them as much as possible. But in the professional space, I feel like it's more traditional, and they want to win, they want to get in there and do their job. So you'll see some of that. Here and there, and you can try to negotiate a little few different perks and stuff. But the big stuff I would say is in the college space, definitely. And I think
What's
it's going to continue with all of the um, NIL stuff. I think they're going to even do bigger
oh
stuff.
yeah.
We saw Calipari with Arkansas, and I think it's going to continue.
What's the I mean craziest, most interesting kind of perk that you've seen? Obviously, maybe third hand or whatnot that you've seen in a contract.
Mm, I would just say a lot of vacation time is great,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. There's the this you'll see typically private jet use
Mm.
for vacation. You'll see tickets to all different sporting games, events at either the school or if it's a professional team, you'll see a lot of in arena um, tickets for different
I see.
bands and stuff. So let's say you work for the Lakers and you're at Staples, but you want to have tickets when Taylor Swift comes in.
Yep.
You want to make sure that you have access to that. So we see a lot of that also.
Gotcha. Yeah, interesting. I just find the coaching like perks out of the contract just very interesting. Because as you kind of allude to, or professional, it's more kind of like, all right, we want to win. We want, the money's nice, and then championships. And I feel like college, it's kind of a little bit more of the college lifestyle. We'll have a little bit of this, have a little bit of that, kind of here
Yeah,
and there. It's
we're
interesting.
seeing the splashy cars now and
Oh yeah.
the Lamborghinis at Texas,
Yep,
stuff
I was
like
just gonna say
that.
Texas rolling out the Lamborghini dealership as the spring practice rolls out. So it's only gonna get crazier and more stuff like that as you alluded to earlier with NIL and the ever-changing landscape, the different regulations and rules, and each state's got its own thing. So that'll be fun sector to watch as we touched on a little bit. And then for those who are just breaking into the sports industry, rather, what experiences, skills do you think are most critical for someone who's trying to make a name for themselves?
Yeah, I would say just try to do everything you can as possible. Try to be well-rounded in different aspects of the sports or whatever position you're in. Um, I like I said, I did a lot of different things. I worked in equipment operations. I did a radio show. I got used to video editing, graphics, stuff like that that I never really realized I was that great at, but I eventually got pretty good at it, and it helped me at every position that I've had since. So trying to be well-rounded in different areas and just trying to go into a job or internship um, with something that they don't have yet. So go in there with a talent that they they need and that they can't let go. So when your internship is up, that they need you to stay there because they want your talent, they want your ability to do different things that they don't have. So find something that they're not doing the best at, and figure out a way to achieve that and show them that you can do a well-rounded different things. So that's kind of what I did at different spots, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I love it, and especially kind of see your career kind of, I guess, unfold, start to, at Boise State, then at ASU, and then now at your time in law school, and the different experiences have shaped your career. And I would just second that, is just get as much, whether it's a boutique agency, whether it's kind of like you mentioned, a radio show, podcast, whatever it is, just kind of building your own little resume, day by day, whatnot, goes a long way, especially in the sports industry. There's so much to talk about. You could be a, whatever, find a sport. There's a minor league of it, and off to the races you go. So before we conclude, Trevor, I mean, this kind of you might have touched on it a little bit, but we'll kind of give you the floor here, and let you leave with some parting advice, thoughts, where people can find you, how to, with stay up to date with all things Trevor Brendlin.
Yeah, you feel free to follow me on my social accounts, Trevor Brendlin. Follow Inside Sports Advisors LA. We're trying to grow our social media accounts as well and help our clients through our platform. So definitely give us a shout there. You can check our website, Inside Sports Advisors. And just advice again is just being different. I've said it throughout the show that finding something that you're good at and that people need, and that they're needing at a critical time is huge. And if you could make people happy and find a way that they need it, it really goes a long way. So be different and do the right stuff, and you'll do fine.
Yep, I love it. Words to live by, be different, find your lane. All great advice. So thanks, Trevor, for joining us today, and that concludes our conversation. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, insights, experiences with us. And like Trevor mentioned, be sure to go follow Inside Sports Advisors on their socials, their websites. Check out all the fun stuff that they're doing with their clients and whatnot. And so if you're interested in watching this episode, go to YouTube, and then we'll publish it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So thanks again, Trevor, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you, Connor. It was a blast.